Good morning. This is Denise Casino. I want to welcome everyone to our webinar, DOE, the Path of Continuous Growth. We want this to be a really fun conversation about the book DOE, but also to meet and learn a little bit about Genaro Torres, the author. Genaro is the founder of GTC Consulting, a leadership and change management firm that has spent the last 15 years helping transform hundreds of organizations. At his dojo in San Diego, Genaro devotes himself to sharing the same gift given to him by his sensei, using karate to live with justice, camaraderie, respect, and honorability. I am part of the team that's helped Genaro through his book process, which is always a process. And I want you all to know that this webinar will be recorded and we'll send it to all of you. And we want you to share it with your friends because Genaro wants to spread the word. Also with us is Alejandro Zarate, who will be in communication with you guys, the audience, and me through the chat. So you can put your questions into the chat. We'll address the questions throughout the webinar. We'll do it during the webinar, not at the end. So welcome, Genaro.
Thank you very much, Denise. This is a very fun day. It's an exciting day because this book started to grow in my mind more than 10 years ago. I have been training traditional Japanese martial arts all my life, mainly Karate-do, which is the way of the empty hand, Iaido, which is the way of the samurai sword, and Aikido, which is also, people know it as the way of peace and harmony. And many of the concepts shared in this book and the stories are related with self-mastery. So I'm here to share and to engage with the audience and to answer all the questions you may have.
How are these concepts related to organizational individual results, or how does that help us?
Well, this is a great question. Denise, I studied bachelor's and master's in engineering, and what has been key for success has been my martial arts mindset. And of course, my professional background has been crucial. But once we understand our purpose and embrace a higher personal responsibility, we're more aware about the direct impact that we can have in our lives and in the lives of other people. So though many people may be reading this as do, but it's really do, which is a Japanese word that means the path, the truth. It's a very, very profound concept. It's about, in a nutshell, it's about how to vividly enjoy our path. So, and I'm sharing many stories about how when we focus in our self-mastery, we can have a direct impact, not just in our lives, but in others. And that's precisely the concept shared in this book. How, when a group of people that are focusing on that and collaborating together, how that ripple effect can happen.
So this, you're saying this has become of life for you.
Yeah, it has been definitely a way of life. And just to share you a little bit more about my background, since I was 4 years old, I found my passion starting with Karate-do, a Japanese martial art focused on defending without a weapon. And also, it's a way that I had used to continuously polish my character and spirit. Since then, I have been continuously applying what I have learned in karate, not just to my personal life, but to my professional life and business. When I founded GTC, I wanted to write a book merging my background in Japanese martial arts and collaborating with leaders in diverse organizations. Fortunately, and I'm happy to say this, during all those years, I got enough experience to be able to share profound and practical concepts to focus on priorities and to achieve what each person really cares about. It's about how to live our do. In Japanese, as I said, it's our path, our truth. I strongly believe It is our duty to enjoy our path of continuous growth.
When I find that there are moments where I get thrown off my path. I'm like upset, I'm angry, I'm not following the character or maybe the integrity or the way I want to be. How do I get back on that path?
Yeah, I really like that question, Denise, because at the end, the path is continuous. Um, what I can share is that I have just practiced long enough to be in that path to make peace with failure. Knowing that it's very rare when we have great results the first time that we do something. Um, well, to be honest, and we all know it is, when we start something new, we literally suck at it at the beginning. So with time we become better and better. And what I do is to feed a growth mindset, where training and practice is the cornerstone of everything. I even want to share something with all of you, which is a quote from Miyamoto Musashi, which was a samurai philosopher, and a Ronin, which was a samurai without a lord during the Edo period. And he says that the purpose of training is to defeat yesterday's understanding. So that means that we are continuously in the path. It's something that the path, it's full of challenges, it's full of joy, and it's our duty to enjoy that. How to enjoy that sounds easy. I mean, that's a real challenge, and that's how I share in this book.
So, will the book provide steps for
Yes.
us to achieve that kind, or at least get ourselves in position to move forward on that path?
Yes, Denise. And I'm going to talk a little bit more later on, but yes, I developed years ago a tool which is called the Personal Strategy Canvas. That's a tool that we have worked with many of our clients. And in that tool, it's a very powerful introspection. In just a piece of paper, people can write about their their hopes, their vision, their mission, their purpose, their code of honor, their affirmations, and what are their priorities in a very organized way, just in a simple piece of paper. So at the end, Denise, this book will empower all the readers to explore and make a profound introspection using a tool that we have used with hundreds of our clients. And they will be able to clarify what they want, how to make their decisions, what are their gifts, and their flaws. At the end, this book is about doing. It's a call to action.
So, really, it's about clarifying who you are, what your goals are, and who you want to be. And through this book, we're able to define that.
Yes, and the name of the book is powerful because that concept has been with me almost all my life. I remember since I was a little kid how each training made me feel, and all the times that I failed until I achieved a fair level of skill. The same concepts that I have learned in martial arts to continuously train my mind, body, and spirit have shaped my decision making, and the code of honor that has taught to me, and that I really embrace. The book. It's about deliberate practice. It's about at the end there are no shortcuts. I share my lineal wisdom that can be accessible and useful to any person, even if there is not an interest in martial arts. Because bottom line, we all care about our own truth. And this book is an amazing way to find our passions and personal strategy to keep ourselves focused and motivating during all our path. Um, at the end, and this is very powerful, once we are clear about it's by far easier to be disciplined.
Well, I think it's something that once you can, again, use the word clarify, then you have a clear vision of where you want to go and how you're going to get there.
Yes, and also, Denise, it's about having a clear vision, but it's also about giving our best effort. It's, of course, we all know about this. This in Japanese is called gambate, and it's a very powerful concept because even though we all know the importance of giving our best effort, sometimes it's complicated to keep our focus and motivation. When we realize our possibilities and how every challenge comes with its solution, we all can attain whatever we decide. We just have to commit and never stop or give up. We can adjust all the times that we want our path, but never give up. At the end, this concept, and I share a beautiful story, but I want you to read it in the book. Gambari implies your life is in your hands. And we all can have a direct impact in our results when we believe it.
What the mind can conceive, we can achieve.
I totally agree. I love that. I love what you're just saying.
I think that's from Wayne Dyer, and I don't think I quoted it exactly, but it's so true.
It is. It is. And I want to make sure if the audience is having questions, just let me know. I will continue. But I want to make a pause just to make sure we're addressing those questions.
Yeah, we have no questions yet, but we would love to
Okay.
hear from you guys. Please send us some questions.
Good.
They can be specific to your needs, to,
Excellent.
how do I deal with this? Give us some, we'd love to help you.
Yeah. Thank you, Denise. And well, this book here also talks about softness and hardness. It's about balancing opposites in life, how we adapt to any situation, and how is our capacity to flow. Strength, for example, strength versus weakness, technical skills versus people skills. It comes from the concept of the Chinese concept of yin yang. Flexibility is key, and life, it is not about extremes. It's a dance of balancing opposites, and that balance of opposites and that acceptance of what we cannot change and what we can have a direct impact. Um, it's very powerful because sometimes we're really trying to go in a way that there is no control about how can we impact in that result, but there are other ways to have a direct impact or an indirect impact. Um, Even though I know this concept that I'm sharing, many of the people in the audience and the people that will be reading the book have heard them before, but the approach and how it's tied with this martial arts mindset, I think will open new perspectives that will make you take action in a different way.
I think the martial arts mindset is, people may look at this book and say, martial arts? I'm not into martial arts. But that's not really what it's about. You're just using that as an analogy of life. That if you did develop a disciplined mind and approach to living, your life is going to be much easier and more successful. Am I right?
Yes, and something fun happened when I was writing the first manuscript, because I approached people, clients, and asked them, some of them, to read the manuscript. And there was a friend and client that I know she was rough and she's very direct. And I talked to her about the book. And the first thing that she said was, Genaro, I really don't care about martial arts. And that's when I say, okay, that's beautiful, because now I really want to read it, because your feedback will be much more valuable. And then weeks after, she texts me and said, Genaro, I want to talk about your book. And I was expecting everything. No. And she said, I cannot believe how engaged I'm with your book. I'm loving your stories. And I was like, and what about the martial arts that, well, it's that your approach is very accessible and you're not talking about martial arts, you're talking about concepts that are very useful in our daily lives. And I found it so powerful that I want, as soon as you have it, to give one copy to my daughter. And I was like, whoa, I think I'm going in the right path. Talking about the path.
Speaking about daughters, how do you handle the challenges that come your way?
That's a very that is a very interesting question, because at the end, what I believe a challenge is a situation or problem that is screaming to be solved. The way I handle a challenge is by having clarity of what I want to achieve and doing my best to understand it as much as I can with an open mind. That last part, with an open mind, it's still a challenge.
Yeah,
Then,
that's the best
yeah, of
part.
course, it requires practice. And then I flow with it. There are many things, as I mentioned before, that I cannot change. And similarly, there are many other things I can have an impact. I focus in the ones I have an influence and accept the rest.
That seems like a good and logical way. You can't deal with everything. Sometimes you just have to say, I have no power over that. I have no control. I cannot deal with that. That is out of my realm. I will deal with this.
Yes, and a very powerful concept, and it's related with what you just said, Denise, is the concept of kara. Kara in Japanese means empty. That's why karate do means the way of the empty hand. It also means how we add value to everything we touch with our empty hands. The concept of emptiness is profound because that's the only way we can continuously learn. Once we empty our minds from what we know and leave room to the new knowledge, um, many opportunities arise. This concept is key, not just for the book, in life. Sounds simple to understand, but it requires humility and practice to really benefit from it. For example, anytime I'm with a client, I completely let go what I know and my preconceptions about that situation. My focus is completely on understanding their challenges. Many times the real value comes from the questions I ask. Uh, because at the end, they are the experts of their own reality. And something similar happens when I listen to a concept I had heard before. Then I ask myself, how it complements what I thought I knew. How can I use it in this new context? Because there is always room to learn. At the end, it's about knowing that there are always that we can receive a lesson from any person. Any single person in the world can teach us something.
So, no judgment, open mind, and we all have value.
Yes, and it's an acceptance to just empty our minds, just accept that there are many other ways to do things. I was in a training years ago, and one time, and a classmate say, because they have this classmate has practiced another martial art before, and he said, I have to unlearn what I know in order to learn it in this new way. And he said that to a sensei, and the sensei, the teacher, replied, just accept that there are other ways to achieve the same goal.
Oh, I like that. And Hanaro, we have a question from the audience.
Awesome.
Um, there are other books that relate sports or other activities, even war, with life, the business of living. What would you
Mm-hmm.
say is the key difference in this book versus others, and why should the audience read it?
I love that question, and I'm going to tie it with the personal strategy canvas and with self mastery. How is different? This tool, it's very simple, easy to understand, and it is profound. In addition, of course, we don't have enough time to talk deeply about the tool, but we have some time to talk about the concept of self-mastery. This book is focused on self-mastery as a contact sport. At the end, all the concepts shared in this book will empower the reader to walk their own dog, their own path of growth, and their own path of self-development. This book will be customized for you. You will be surprised because you will have daily challenges. And those daily challenges, even though a challenge is always a challenge, but because of the way that it's created, the path of reading the book, every person can go at their own pace, but it's required that they take action. And not many books that I have read are doing that. I'm from the idea that it's better to read one book and apply it than read 15 and don't apply anything. You know, it's not about knowing, it's about doing. And the book, it's about doing. Everything starts with you and your openness to learn from the people around you. As in any sport, training, perseverance, and continuous interaction with others will really make a difference in your life. I really invite, and thank you for the question. I really invite to read the book and discover how, because I'm just checking I just see that we have 8 more minutes, and it's like that book. When you read it, I promise you will be immersed on that, because at the end it's about you. It's going to be it promotes a very deep reflection, self-reflection, yeah. Or
we have another question.
Mm-hmm.
It says, I like how Genaro presents strategies on how to act to follow our path and overcome challenges. But what if I cannot find the definition of path? What good are strategies to find my path when I'm adrift?
Well, and the path, to find our path, it's literally to find our passions. Sometimes we don't stop enough to analyze our reality. Sometimes we don't stop enough to analyze what we really want in life and what we really enjoy. Sometimes we don't stop enough to analyze the new skills that I decide to focus on so I can achieve my next level of success. And I'm saying this because, for example, at GTC, we have leadership programs and we have strategy planning, organizational development, go forward. But what I'm very surprised that every single time that we apply the module of personal strategy, in which they go through this tool, it's the module that has, or it's the training, that's the experiential training that adds the most value to our clients, the most that they enjoy, because it's a time to think about these things and to find exactly what's really feeling ourselves. And a lot of times we're just going through life and stand by. This book will make you stop to reflect in the concepts and in your own life.
Well, it sounds like the book helps you find your passion and get on your path. So if you're feeling adrift, this book is exactly what you need.
Yes, because this book invites the reader to put ego aside and focus on the real benefit of focusing on my self-mastery and the people around us. Organizational though, I talk about this in the book, happens when everyone in the team is committed to their self-mastery. As mentioned before, this creates a ripple effect where everyone is committed to their self-mastery, and when a team like that collaborates, the butterfly effect is amazing.
Well, I think that the fact that someone might not know what they want out of life makes this book a perfect perfect aid to discovering that.
Yes, because also addressing that same questions, that same question, there are many books about self-development, of course. There are a lot of books about strategy. There are many books about how to live a life with purpose. And, and the approach that I have in this book is unique because of this mindset and because of this code of honor. I even mentioned the concept of modern samurais because modern samurais are still alive and are and we interact with them. Sometimes we don't realize that. A modern samurai can be any person committed to becoming a better version of themselves every single second. A person who is always looking for new ways to balance their hard skills with their soft skills. What I mean with that is their knowledge, experience, and competencies and tools with emotional intelligence, assertive communication, accountability, motivation. A modern samurai continues serves the people around them. They are working in their self-mastery because they love seeing the impact that they're having in others. A modern samurai is an honorable person with courage, willingness to sacrifice for others, and with an unremitting discipline. And this unremitting discipline doesn't come necessarily because of my will. It comes because I know my passions, and it's easier to be disciplined when I'm really following my path. It's just that I had to find it. Then a modern samurai acts congruent with their values and live with honor, justice, respect. They're willing to go beyond their own accomplishments and ego to give their lives to create a better world. Imagine, Denise, audience, imagine a world full of modern samurais who put honor first, taking care of each other and learning from each other.
It's hard to imagine that, isn't it, in our modern world? I wish everyone would read your book.
That's the main point. That's the main point of this webinar, because it's going to be published in a couple of weeks, specifically on June 4th. And June 4th, it's a magic number because it's our 15-year anniversary at GTC. So we're very excited. It's going to be launched internationally in English. By the end of the year, will be in Spanish, available in Spanish too. And you can, if you log into Amazon and you can check, just type the name, it will appear. You can pre-order it. And well, the information is there, and very important. If you log into Amazon and check the book on June 4th, we have a surprise for you. So just make sure you have it in your calendar and check Amazon on June 4th, okay?
And the book will be available for pre-order in sometime probably this week by the weekend. They check Amazon, look up your name and or the title of the book. We should have it available to pre-order by then.
Yeah, and
yeah, so well, is that it or now? We did have one quick last question, but we're almost out of time. It was, what do you recommend to all leaders out there? My guess would be read the book.
Let's start with that. But okay, what I would recommend is that leadership, it's about self-mastery. In business, we talk about leadership. In martial arts, we talk about self-mastery. A very effective way to live our own truth is by discovering what we really want, emptying our minds, freeing ourselves from ego, and making sure we are learning and considering the information from the people around each one of us to continue growing. As I mentioned before, self-mastery is a contact sport. Have that in mind. And if you have more questions, here's my contact info, my email, even my cell phone, because I really want to engage with you. I really want you to really know what's the essence of this book. So you happily recommend it to your friends, family, co-workers. I another client that read the book and said, this is going to be part of my induction process to all the people in the organization. I was like, whoa, that sounds awesome. So that's kind of the thing that I want to share. Thank you. Thank you, all of you, for being here. And thank you very much, Denise, for hosting this webinar.
You are so welcome, Genaro. Someone in the audience said thank you for sharing yourself with us. And we want to offer a big thank you both to Genaro, Alejandra, and everyone in the audience who attended the webinar. And don't forget, we're going to be sending you the recording. We want you to share it with others. And don't forget about that special bonus surprise on Amazon on June 4th.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.